Hello, and welcome to Fermata Fashion, presented by the Strings and Things channel, with special guest, Allegra De Vita, hosted by me, so-called legend, Rachel Sigmund. Now let's get to the show.
Hey y'all! I would love to welcome my special guest, Allegra De Vita. Allegra, hey girl!
Hey.
Allegra and I went to Rice together for our master's degree, and we actually lived right next door to each other our second year. She's also studied at the Academy of Vocal Arts and as a young artist at Washington National Opera. Allegra has sung at the Dolores Zajic Institute for Young Dramatic Voices, Aspen Music Festival, Santa Fe, and Glimmerglass Festival as a young artist. She also made it to the Metropolitan Opera Finals. And then she has sung professionally with Opera Philly, Dayton Opera, Austin Opera, and Syracuse Opera. Cool. Surprisingly, Allegra started her journey with a bachelor's in biology with a concentration in neuroscience.
It's true.
From Sacred Heart in Fairfield, Connecticut. When she is not performing, Miss De Vita enjoys reading, writing, practicing martial arts, rewatching Milan, and eating Italian foods, which me too, except gluten-free because I'm an Ashkenazi Jew and my stomach rejects bread. Potatoes for us. Only potatoes and cabbage. So, welcome to the program, Allegra.
Hey, thank you so much for having me.
It's so nice to see you. It's so nice to talk to you. So, our program today is about how fashion and education intersect. You are my quintessential Gemini friend. And there are two different sides to you. There is this a really scholarly, focused side, and then there is also this fashionista side who loves Betsy Johnson and is super glamorous. So I just want to get down to what that means to you as a person and what that means for you as an artist. Okay. So how would you define your personal style, Allegra?
Well, my personal style is definitely evolved over the ages. I was the 8-year-old in ballet class wearing Dragon Ball Z t-shirts. So I think it definitely started punky and clearly has remained punky, but with a more classic flair. So that's what I think my peak style is black with gold accessories. It's kind of my current vibe. And just a lot of these intersecting styles. I think I like mixing and matching cargo pants and a nice top, high heels, and longer skirts. So I like intersecting different styles. That's what I would say. Whatever I feel like being for the day.
So in middle school, were you an emo kid like me?
Oh gosh, I think I tried to be. My mother definitely was not a fan of that.
Yeah, my mom just let me go.
I'm grateful for looking back, but at the time, I was definitely an emo child with nothing to be emo for. I have a fantastic family. There was no reason for me to be an emotional 16-year-old, and yet I thought I deserved it.
I mean, hormones, man. Hormones are reason enough.
Went to a Catholic all-girls school. It was chill. They were all chill. We all wore uniforms. It was I had a very great childhood, and I think a lot of my style actually kind of came from that, right? So Catholic all-girls high school, you wake up, you put on your uniform, you got no one to impress. So in your formative years, where I would say a lot of people's style and the way they carry themselves and create who they want to be is made in that time. And I had this time period that Sacred Heart Academy is where I went for high school. And it's this great all-girls school in the hills of Hamden, Connecticut. And they prized intelligence over everything. And they really wanted to cultivate well-rounded individuals. And I really appreciated that they got a lot of their scientific equipment from Yale. So they had, gene sequencers, DNA splicers. So they had a lot of top edge equipment that we got to work with at, 15 years old.
Wow.
And they demanded a certain level of excellence from you. And at the end of the day, it didn't matter what you looked like. I sometimes would go to bed in my knee highs so I could wake up and make the waking up process that much shorter. So lazy.
Dean said that he did the same thing when I had him on 2 weeks ago. Dean said that he put his uniform on before he went to bed.
Perfect.
I mean, I wore a bunch of little shapeless black t-shirts and like parachute pants when I was in middle school and high school. So I probably slept in those too. I think we all were just gross when we were going.
I always say I want to do an Instagram line of all the shirts I have from when I was 13 years old, because I have them and they are hilarious. So maybe I'll do one of those, like pair high fashion with these really grungy, holy t-shirts that I wear, just like comforting, right? It's like giving yourself a hug. Like, anyway.
I would be all over that content. Please do that.
Yeah.
Like spirits, and I don't know. I'm turning into one of those Instagram people. So okay. As a classic Gemini, you have this super brainy side, and you have this super fashionista side. How do those interact and affect each other?
Sure. So I have both my parents are engineers, so I kind of like popped out. My brother was a financial analyst, and I emerged as like an opera singer, and everyone was very supportive, but it was clearly like the artsy person. But I still retain this appreciation for things that work. That's why I always say I like Baroque music, because Baroque music is mathematical. You can see a clear pattern in it. Verismo, Puccini, it's a little harder for me because it's all over the place and there's a lot more emotive expression, which I like doing a lot of, but there's something very inherently pleasing about the mathematics of it. And I find that in fashion, there's something very pleasing about basics. I'm not as attracted to prints, like heavy printed things. I like more piecing, which I know you're the queen of awesome prints, but I like piecing together kind of basic materials in class and seeing how they work. That's like very pleasing, like Audrey Hepburn, Sophia Loren, like those are my like fashion icons. And then I like giving it my twist, which I would say is like the punkier twist, like a little bit more black or a little bit more gold, less pearls. But I like that very refined, elegant line that comes, I think, from like the more mathematical, scientific part of my brain. So,
Have you found that what you've read or movies you've liked or TV shows you've liked has affected the way you dress?
Totally. I think it's actually more the people I interact with. We are around such colorful people, and there will be directors or colleagues who wear something and I say, oh my gosh, I want to do that. And a lot of, so getting back to what you were saying about the intellectuality and fashion colliding the two, about my latest Instagram series, the Mythbound series. So that was, I grew up, my aunt is a classics professor. She has written books on Roman women. Like, she is incredibly brilliant in this line. And when I was younger, she gave me a book called Bullfinch's Mythology. And I felt in love with Greek and Roman mythology. I'm Italian, so it was part and parcel with like my history and like understanding the gods and the names of places that my family came from. So I kind of love that aspect. And then there's something about Greek mythology that is so human in a way. And it really is the basis, I think, of opera, right? So we have these huge expressions of emotions, pairing music. It all started in Greek theaters and Greek tragedies and Greek drama. And it was all about like pushing the boundaries of human expression and human emotion. And I found that so incredibly interesting. And the gods themselves are such interesting characters because that's what they are. They're these caricatures of humanity. So
such bad. That's something we love about them. They're terrible people most of the time.
Oh, they're the worst. They're the lustful ones. They're greedy. There's no paragon of virtue in Greek mythology. Even Artemis, who is the celibate virgin goddess, will turn dudes into stags and then sends her hounds after them because he saw her bathing, which is creepy. Don't do that. But he's like, she's like, you gotta die. She's gotta die now. So I was like, gosh. So there's something so interesting about that, because I think as I got older, I was more drawn to people, to characters with flaws and ones that were explored more. I think you read a lot of young adult novels now, and it's all about, you get kind of cookie cutter people. You get cookie cutter actions, and there's no pathos behind it. There's not a reason why they do something. Or if there is, it's kind of easily explained in 3 paragraphs. You don't really get that inquiry of like, why is Artemis the way she is? So I think there's something inherently interesting about Greek mythology, and the fact that it, this was at the beginning. So the basis of everything that we write and read comes from these. So I don't know. I love it. I could talk about Greek mythology for days.
And one of the reasons why I wanted to have you on here was you were probably one of the reasons that I sort of had started getting momentum when I started posting stuff on Instagram, because you made this challenge, the Mythbound Challenge, basically 2 weeks after I started my fashion Instagram. I know this is so intellectual, but and it was the beginning of COVID, and I needed something to do, so I didn't wring my hands, and so I would put on an outfit. And so Allegra started this challenge where for 14 days, we would style an outfit around a Greek god or goddess or someone from the Greek mythological canon. And I grew up with Greek mythology. I was always a kid who liked fairy tales and stuff. And my parents also super brainy. My mother's a professor. My dad was a cardiologist. My brother is in finance. And then I got all this creative energy. My mom is the biggest brain of all time. So when I was a kid, they gave me all these books of mythology that I would read constantly, like every night. And so, and I don't know, it's in my DNA basically.
Mm-hmm.
So when I started the challenge, and I had just started a fashion Instagram, it was just kind of like, oh, here's a way for me to be creative. And since then, I did that challenge, and I sort of continued with that. And I do like a mythological Monday now. And in October, I'm putting up like a bunch of editorials based on the Greek gods and goddesses, but like scary ones for fun October stuff. But this all was because you started it, and some amazing looks. You started with the Mythbound Challenge, and then you reread the Odyssey, which was really cool. It's a book my mom teaches at Temple. Yeah, my mom teaches intellectual heritage at Temple University. So she teaches like all the great books. And so she talks to me about like the Aeneid and Odyssey all the time. And so that was really fun to watch you do all the characters of the Odyssey. And then you started doing botany, which was super cool. You started doing plant. And so I wanted to look at some looks that you did for Instagram. And I want you to like talk to me about your process. I picked something out. So if we could do that.
Perfect.
Awesome.
Well, I kind of started these because I had just finished up Cenerentola with Dayton Opera. And it was one of those, like, I got the call 2 weeks beforehand. It was like, hey, Allegra, can you come sing Angelina in Cenerentola? And I was like, oh, yeah, of course, totally. I'll be on a plane. So it was great. And so I had all this, like, momentum, and then COVID hit. Yeah. And it felt like I had all this energy and all these ideas and all this kind of, like, hope. And it kind of came to a standstill. hey. So I kind of took that and threw my brain into a lot of research of Greek mythology and came up with these. And this was my very first one, actually. This is Athena. There are two sides. I kind of liked putting two pictures back to back. I have a Kate Spade blouse, Tahari little outfit. Yeah, there's her sassy side, and then a Kate Spade bag. You see Athena as the wise intellectual, but she has fire and she has a lot of sass. You see that with the myth of Arachne. She is not someone you want to cross, but she is someone who is incredibly loyal if she thinks you are worthy of her attention. And I adore Athena. So I kind of put this like pantsuit picture together, but I love the embroidery on the Kate Spade blouse because it's very feminine, and yet there's like a power to it. And her sacred animal is the owl, so obviously the owl bag.
I wore this owl today. It was made by my friend Jody, who I LARP with. Hi, Jody, if you're watching. And I wore that because, I don't know, for me, the goddess I associate with you the most is Athena, because you're one of my smartest friends. And
oh, no.
you're powerful. And like, if I had to cast someone to play Athena, I could just see you bursting out of some dude's head, like, to be born. Yeah, it's
fully clothed and ready to fight.
Yeah, and that's why I picked this one to talk about. And like, look at this leather skirt. It's just Allegra and I appreciate Allegra's style. And I love classic looks, but I'm like, I love print. But for me, I don't know. I feel like I need to throw prints over everything, but it's like, it's so clean. And I love that about your style, just how clean everything is.
That's what I love. Clean lines. I love them.
Where I'm like, oh, look, there's like all these prints on my pants.
Hey, that's fun.
Yeah.
It suits you.
I'm a lot.
Yeah. Stop.
No, I mean, in the best way. I love that about myself. I'm a lot. I mean, we're both a lot, but your strength comes out, and I'm just like, print.
Thank you.
Look at this beautiful page, guys. Look at this feed. I aspire to have this gorgeous feed that is just so consistent.
Oh, you're so sweet.
I'm not
very cathartic.
but I don't mean them. Here is Allegra's Telemachus.
Oh, this is fun. So this is probably more indicative of my everyday style. There is a distinct, bringing opera back in, there is a style that I wear when I'm in the opera house. It's a little different than my everyday style. And I kind of like that. I think one of my favorite sayings is that your wardrobe is like your armor that you put on to start your day. And I think there's something powerful about putting on something that you feel strong and confident in and walking into a room. Because opera is such a vulnerable craft, right? You're taking your voice, you're taking your soul, which is your production. We don't ever hear our voice, right? You can record it, sure, but it'll always be slightly different than how someone else perceives it. So there is like a strength in knowing that I'm very proud of this product, especially when you walk into a rehearsal room, you're about to sing through a 3-hour-long opera, and you've prepared, you've worked hard, you've coached it, you've worked it in your voice, and it might be perfect to your standards, but now it's out in the world, right? It's the first time it's leaving your parameters. So whenever I walk into my first day, I always have a first day outfit, and it's more like the Athena look, right? So a lot of strong lines that says, I have something to say, and I'm excited to share it with you. Mm-hmm. This Telemachus is a little more what I normally do. You got your combat boots, you got your ripped black jeans, and the shirt is actually, my aunt brought that back from her trip to Greece. It has Athena on it, and I thought this was perfect for Telemachus, because Telemachus in the Odyssey. So Odysseus is off after the Trojan War. He's annoyed a lot of gods by being smart and canny. And but Athena has always been on his side, because Athena always rewards cunning. and in the intelligent way, not in the malicious way, even though Odysseus can be sneaky. But Odysseus is brilliant, and she rewards that by going ahead and warning his son. Athena goes in the disguise of an old man to talk to Telemachus to tell him to kick out the suitors. So while Odysseus has been away for 20 years, mind you, his beautiful wife Penelope has been aging, and all these dudes have been eating their food, drinking their wine, sleeping in their rooms, just waiting for Penelope to pick another suitor, of which she does not. For 20 years, she holds out for Odysseus.
Yeah, and she's like 40, so she's like an old maid to them.
She is, but she's still beautiful, and she still has power. That's the important part, is she has title, and she has wealth, she has land. And Telemachus is her son, and he's fed up with all these suitors in his place, basically acting like his father's dead already, even though they have no confirmation. So Athena goes to him and says, no, take strength, your father's coming. And she kind of prepares him for to fight off the suitors, basically, for when his father comes home, which you should read. There's actually a new translation. The reason this Odysseus, the Odyssey came up is because there's a new translation by a female, Emily Wilson, and it's an incredible read because it's a new translation of the ancient Greek, and it brings about more interesting shades to the female characters, to the Helen of Troy. You know, everyone's in there calling her very mean words in all the older editions, but this new female edition takes a different look at these female characters who are so integral in the story. So anyway, yeah, that's Telemachus.
Yeah, my mom loves that version. I still need to read it, but yeah, she loves that version. It's good. Let's look at just look at all these outfits.
Well, that one, the Penelope one is fun, with the skirt, because I do a lot of thrift shopping. So that's kind of one of my secondary side things. It's actually one of my favorite parts about Instagram is my stories, which I go into thrift shops or consignment shops, Buffalo Exchange, Crossroads, and I do try-ons and say, do you like this? Do you like this? And I find the craziest things. Houston, Texas.
Oh my God.
Buffalo Exchange.
I missed
this is a Tory Burch skirt that I got for $10, and some of the buttons are a little like shungat, we say in Calabrese, which is a little funky. So a little funky, but that's okay. This is a Vince top I got for like $9. So I love it, and I think a lot of pieces I like wearing a lot of different pieces. So I say, like, I have a minimalist idea when I'm on gigs, right? So I have like a lot of clothes in my closet at home, but when I go on gigs, I kind of cull from that and make a little minimalist closet in my wardrobe. But I like when I come home to have a ton of different things. So this is kind of odd. It's really bad.
I don't know. I've learned from my mom to just shop all the time, and I mostly thrift my clothing because I don't know, sustainability is very important to me. But yeah, I still like shopping and I'm addicted to it, so that's really hard. But when I go on a trip to Berlin, like I started posting my stuff online, like Capital Wardrobes, when I did my trip to Berlin 2 years ago, and it saves your brain, and I know when I need to get rid of stuff because, like,
absolutely,
the amount of clothes I have drives me crazy. But
it does. Same. Especially now, I'm like staring at it. But anyway, so I just wanted to point out, I love finding most of the things you see on my Instagram are not. I think I can count in my hand the number of things I've bought full price. So I try to get everything from a thrift store, consignment, or TJ Maxx, Nordstrom Rack, just scouring. Spending hours.
Your Instagram called Thrifty Mezzo for a while?
That's the hashtag I use. So I do hashtag Thrifty Mezzo when I do fashion photos. But since my La Vita Allegra is called a play on Allegra De Vita, it's my opera page as a whole. I didn't separate the two. I didn't make like a Thrifty Mezzo and a La Vita Allegra. So I just kind of put a hashtag to denote when things are kind of on the more fashion side.
Yeah.
I like that my life is kind of a pile up patchwork of things. So
Yeah.
Even though I am very envious of neat, a very neat Instagrams, but maybe something.
I mean, yours is like so neat compared to mine. I started the second one because, I mean, I have so many hobbies and interests that I'm like posting like ukulele craft, posting like drawings, and so it just became so much for the main page for me to do like capsule wardrobes and me doing Inktober, and so I just put it on a separate page. And
cool.
From like Instagram, like I did like an Instagram masterclass, and I was advised not to do that, but like I'm gonna do it because I'm just so messy. So it's nice to have some semblance of organization.
Absolutely.
Let's look at your basil picture. I know more. So you did Mythbound, and then you did the Odyssey, and then you went from doing the Odyssey to plants, which is there's not like an immediate streamline. I mean, I know basil is very part of your culture as the Italiana ragazza, but
I will tell you, I took a really fun photo with the sunflower, the glimmer glass photo. I was having a very sad day that day. It was supposed to be the opening of Ronaldo at Glimmer Glass, which I've been excited about for like a year plus. And since it got canceled with COVID, I was really bummed. And I had a sunflower, and I saw all those Instagram girls do one of those like cover one eye with a sunflower. And I was like, oh, it's so basic, but I want to try it. And I did. And you know what? It's fun. So do it. And I tried it, and I was like, this is interesting. A lot of flowers. And then what was the next one? I forget. What was the next one? Oh gosh, the hydrangea one. To be fair, I had just bought those new Doc Martens, and I was like, I need to get a photo in those Doc Martens. And then I saw that, and I was like, you know what? It's interesting to look at the history. When I was doing the Mythbound and then the Odyssey, doing the research kind of filled the visceral love of research that I have for opera. So whenever I do an opera, you do the translation of the words, but then you also do the translation of the character. What is this character? Who is this character? What is the source material? Where do you envision them being? And I find so much joy and so much satisfaction in those kind of detailed analyses. And so this kind of took the place of that a little bit during these quarantine times. So I said, well, I won't just take a photo with a flower. I'll find out what is the flower's meaning. Why does it exist? How did it come to the States? And that was really just very satisfying. For me, it's just more learning. So I just wanted to share that. And I found a bunch of great flower photos, and then basil and tomato. And I just had a lot of fun. This is what I've basically been wearing all of quarantine is those overalls. And
you also it gave you an excuse to like go on hikes and get outside, which is
absolutely,
which is really important, especially now.
Absolutely. So that was the basil one too. We were making pesto for dinner one night, and our basil plant had exploded. And so I put on this dress I got from Pact, which is a great company. I did this last year, a kind of giveaway for this all organic cotton company, which I really believe in because there is a lot of scientifically backed material saying that polyester is very dangerous for our environment. Whenever you wash it, it releases pieces of plastic that they found in 1 in 4 fish in the California Bay, and which you eat. So I am trying to shift my wardrobe away from a lot of polyester, and like you say, doing a lot more pieces that are secondhand. So I'm staying away from sustainable fashion, which is funny because I don't have a lot of H&M things, but I am actually wearing one of the few H&M things I have.
Oh, you mean fast fashion? You are shopping more sustainably.
Oh, sorry, shopping more sustainable. Wow, we're doing well. Tired. Shopping more sustainably and staying away from a lot of the fast fashion brands.
Mm-hmm. And you could easily find fast fashion brands while thrifting if you need it and it's necessary. Like,
well, I find a lot of the fast fashion has what I call a shelf life.
Oh yeah.
So maybe your H&M shirt, not to shout out a company name, but let's say your fast fashion shirt gets 10 washes out of it. By the time it's hit a thrift store, it most likely has gone through half of its life cycle, so 5 washes. So even if that shirt is, $5, you're really only getting half the value of it. So I tend to stay away also from fast fashion in thrift stores, just because I know by the time it's ended up there, it has gone through a life. It has seen things. I prefer a lot of the more statement pieces that I can get, like the Tory Burch skirt.
Yeah. I mean, if you
dress.
To get the best bang for your buck, it's get quality stuff. But if there's like something on Doll's Kill that you are obsessed with, maybe wait like 8 months for someone to put it on ThreadUp and then get it that way, instead of maybe adding to the demand for fast fashion. Because there's just so much that I see. There's this whole fast fashion as a culture. It's not great for our culture, really.
It is not.
But there's sort of this demand for us to stay ahead, and if people really feel the need to, there's ways to do that without.
Well, you walk into Forever 21, which I haven't in a very long time, but I kind of stepped in there bored months ago. And it's incredible how many outfits they have, how many pieces of clothing they have in that store that they turn over for every season. So they have 4 or 5 iterations of an entire store full of clothing. And it's kind of ghastly in a way. And on one hand, you're like, oh my gosh, a tank top for $2. I can't say no. But then on the other hand, it's like, it's deeply unsatisfying because it, disintegrates in your hand after 5 washings. And it's just not good for the environment.
And I think it's probably made by a child. So,
well, yeah, we won't even, that's a whole other subgenre of conversation. But I think there is something to be said that I found in my old age of picking up pieces that I know will last. And then it makes me take care of it. Because I tell you, fast fashion, I rip off that shirt and it goes on the floor and lives there in a cave for days. But pieces that I've bought and I have paid money, even at a cheaper degree, I care about and I want to take care of it more. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. There are good things. On the offset, it might be a little more expensive, but I think at the end of the day, you'll feel better in it.
Yeah. And most of the time, the people who are being paid to make the clothing, if the clothing is more expensive, most of the time, they're getting more money for it. Most of the time. You have to do your research.
I think it is an important conversation to be had, the labor cost physically and emotionally that goes into the fast fashion industry.
Yeah.
And the fashion industry as a whole, let's be honest, a lot of it's not great. But I think a first good step is just being aware. I think it's very hard to ask a public, especially now, who is struggling monetarily, to only shop at Vince, only buy high quality things. I think it's difficult and it's presumptuous to ask that of people. But I think it's not presumptuous to say, just be a little more conscientious.
Yeah.
Just look at your tab.
Yeah. Thrift some of your things. I mean, I like thrifting so much because usually with the 52 seasons that happen in fast fashion, you're getting a lot of the same look from a lot of the brands. And I don't know, I'm just so, I like to be so out there that I don't like being told this is what you must wear at this time. So a lot of times I'll get like a mid 2000s top or like a late 90s pair of pants or something, and I'll
Mhm.
and and I just it gives you more of a chance to make a decision about how you want to look without um, without giving that over to the fast fashion companies or Pinterest. It gives you
Mhm.
more chance to play.
For sure, for sure. Um, which is why I have too many clothes and hold on to too many of my clothes for far too long. I can't say no. I found a thrift shop in Florida. I was there for the Palm Beach Opera competition, and there was a thrift shop that I bought 4 pieces from, and they're still my go-to pieces. So for me, when I go to a new city, the first thing I hit up is a thrift shop or a consignment shop or a used bookstore. Those are my like on my day off. Those are my like day off vibes are those. And it drives my boyfriend crazy because I could sit in that store for hours and just look, and I kind of like analyze. I'm don't don't speak to me when I'm thrift shopping. It's not like a gal experience. Like let's go thrift shopping together. No. I'm hunting, and I just like try to analyze pieces and try to say how will this fit in my closet? How will this look on me? How will I feel in this? And then you take it to the dressing room and do your thing. But I love it. I think it's something a lot more people should do. I think it's something a lot more people should contribute to. I myself don't give that much to thrift shops because by the time they've gone through my hands, my clothing, I either throw them out or I keep them. Very large closet. But uh, yeah, I love thrift shopping, and I love that I've been given a platform to kind of take my pieces and create a sort of self-expression from it. And so that's what my Instagram is. It's not, hopefully it doesn't come out across as like a wanton display of narcissism.
Oh, no.
I hope it comes across as saying, this is my self-expression. This is how I choose to present myself today. And if you see that and say, hey, I like that look. I want to wear that. It'll give me confidence the next time I go to the opera, the next time I go on a date. That's all I could ask. So
Girl, that's why you're on the show. Uh, the show, in terms of mythology, it's my Trojan horse for
mm,
for bigger issues. Like
mhm.
and I love fashion. Carrie Ann and Dane Suarez, um, we love fashion, but also self-expression means so much more than
Mhm.
just I'm going to take pictures of myself and put them on the internet. It's about empowerment. It's about expression. Um, uh, you you teach people, and you inspired
Mhm.
me to also teach people.
I'm so
And
glad. Good.
so, and that's why you're here. And I mean, I find you incredibly interesting. So that's why I want to have this conversation with you. So we have one more we have we have one more question. Uh, you
Mhm.
sort of answered this a little bit. Uh, People say fashion is frivolous. How can
Mm.
we use fashion, personal style to create positive change?
I think there is a lot of, especially in this time period where Instagram is kind of king, um, words don't have as much power as words have power. Don't get me wrong, but the tweets have kind of the tweets have died down a little, and Instagram and pictures have a lot more visceral reaction. We find, and I think people utilizing fashion to bring to light voices that are not heard often, I think is an incredibly important thing. I think fashion is not frivolous. I think it has such a billion-dollar industry following for a reason because people need to feel how to phrase this. I think it is a subset of self-expression, right?
Mm-hmm.
People put on makeup. I don't really enjoy doing makeup. It's not a way I express myself. It's not something I find interest in. I have the basic lip and basic eyeliner, but people put on makeup, and the art they make with it, I think, is a way to say something. Same with fashion. What I put on my body, how I dress myself is something I want to say to people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's a lot of good that can come out of this form of self-expression. I think Carrie Ann and Dane did such a great job with this question last time, so I'm reticent.
No, you sound very intelligent, I promise. You sound very intelligent, I promise.
But I think this, a lot of the movement is given power in many different ways. And I think one of them is the clothes you wear. I think it's shirts that say Black Lives Matter, shirts that say Pride. There's a lot of power behind those images, which are kind of more in the forefront of our media right now, especially with COVID. You're just kind of flipping through Instagram constantly. And it's very powerful when you see a diversification. Actually, this is a TikTok compilation I saw recently, was very amazing to me because it had everyone was wearing normal clothing, and then, or normal as in everyday streetwear, and then they jumped and kind of changed into the garb of their indigenous. Whether there was indigenous native Eskimo, whether it was West African, there was a beauty in the pattern, and there was a beauty in the expression that I myself found drawn to and found beauty in, and said, I wanna look more into that. I wanna research that more. And while I may never wear it, I think it said, look at this. This has brought power and a sense of expression. Research it more, understand me, and learn about me. And it's just another way in which we can connect kind of through the murky borders that seem to be separating us nowadays.
Yeah.
I hope I was coherent.
You were. You're one of the most coherent people I know. But I think with fashion, it enables you to say something before you actually say something. A lot of people don't like it for that reason, and sometimes you want to say something different than what is on the inside, but it's also a tool that, and I think that's what you were saying, that when people display their culture, or they explain part of their history, or parts of their politics, like wearing a mask is a political statement now. You know, wearing a mask
not a political statement.
And
wear a mask.
Yeah, please wear a mask. So yeah, science for a reason. But you can say so much without speaking, and that's why I like it, and that's why I like makeup. The more I talked to you about this before, the more makeup I wear, usually is the more stressed out I am, the more armor I'm putting on, or like, or sometimes I will just, if I'm having like a bad day, I'll just put on a bright color and I'll feel better. That's also science. It's a tool, and it's also a conversation starter. So back to this. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today.
You're welcome. Thank you for having me.
This has been so much fun, and it's lovely to see your face.
Wow, good to see you too. Always good to hang out.
Yeah, I want to hang out and go back.
I know.
But yeah, thank you so much for coming. Yeah, stay safe. All you wear a mask, and all you hold Fermata. And I'm gonna play our outro.
Thank you for watching Fermata Fashion with Rachel Sigmund. Please follow our guests on their respective social medias. Our next broadcast will be October 8th, 7:30 EST, with special guest Rayanne Bryce Davis. See you next time.